Welcome to the Wine Find Talks. Today we have a very special guest with us, Jean-Claude Mas from the south of France. He is at the helm of one of the leading producers in the Languedoc region. It's Les Domaines Paul Mas. So welcome. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning, Caroline.
So Jean-Claude, you actually grew up in the south of France in the vineyards. That's in your blood. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I grew up in, I like to say it was a grape farm. My family was making grape, one side, but the other side also was a farm, real farm, a bit further in the mountains where they were raising cattle and all kind of polyculture, as we say. So I have very much in the blood this peasant, these rural origins. But when you are in the south of France in the 60s, beginning of the 70s, you know, working in the vineyard is tough. You have to go in the morning when it's freezing to prune. You have to do a lot of work. It's very tough. It's a tough work. It's a tough work because you don't have the equipment that we have today. So your parents, they always wish for you the best, and they wish you that you won't do this job. So the word where if you're good at school, you will study and you will become someone that you will become a white collar, not a blue collar. And that's basically what happened to me because I was good at school. And my parents, especially my grandfather from my mother's side, pushed me to study and to go to university and to reach good degrees so that I don't have to go back to the fields to work in the farm.
But you did.
But I did because I think your DNA is made in a certain way. When you are born in the Languedoc, I think you don't realize at first that you have probably one of the most beautiful regions to live in, one of the best way of life. You can really experience one of the best way of life as long as you know how to work, how to handle your vineyards, especially. So. What happened to me, I left, I studied, and then I'm working even in the car racing industry. And you know, always coming back with my friends, they were telling me, well, you know, when we were talking about family, I said, what are your parents doing? They're growing grapes and they're making wine. Oh, can we taste it? I mean, I would be, you know, always this attraction for wine. And I said, well, something wrong. You know, I was pushed to do something else, and why everybody is considering making wine. So in 1993, I met a gentleman, was an Italian guy, Giorgio Grai. They taught me the art of wine. And then I understood everything that I missed from being just considering the wine, the grape business, the wine business, just as farming. Actually, wine is much more than that. And I like to say that if I was the fourth generation of grape growers, I'm the first generation of vigneron, winemaker. And the difference between a vigneron and a grape grower, viticulteur, is a vigneron knows how to grow grapes, how to vinify, to make the wine, how to blend and age, how to bottle and how to market. And this is the beauty of wine.
I see. And what you've done is you've taken your father's business and you've grown it.
Yeah, I took the initial plot of Nicole, which was divided in several parts, but in total there were 35 hectares, but the original plot, the best plot, is Vigne de Nicole, which actually is well known in Quebec as Vigne de Nicole. And I bought other plots around Nicole and became Les Domaines Paul Mas, but I was lucky that with my view about winemaking in the Languedoc, with my philosophy, I will expand from 35 hectares to 940 hectares. With today 17 hectares, 17 estates, which justify Les Domaines Paul Mas.
Yes, I understand. And it's interesting because right now the Languedoc is getting the respectability that it didn't have, say, in the 1960s and 70s. There's a premiumization of the wine from there.
But you know why? You know
yes.
why?
Don't tell me.
Because we didn't care. In the 60s, you have to imagine, the world was looking for volume of wines, not too high in alcohol. People in France were drinking 150 liters per capita. They were looking for price. So it was a commodity.
True, a food, really.
it was a
Drink.
food. It was a food. This was a Red Bull of that time. You know, it was
Yeah.
like an energy booster for this guy working in the mines or in the steel industry. In the 70s, everything changed. The world went from blue collar to white collar. Wine became just as a, you know, as an extra to make your life better, a way to socialize, a way to show your status, a way to, you know, part of the gastronomy. So it went to another level of basically to satisfy different kind of needs.
Speaking of elevating and taking things to another level, in the south of France, there's a concept. If there's a rough translation in English, it would be everyday luxury. What is that, and how do you bring it, you know, to fruition in a day-to-day thing?
Yeah, basically, luxury, definition of luxury is everything that you don't need, that you can afford. That's a luxury. It's over the top, over the essential. But in my philosophy, the luxury is what is really essential for a good living, for happy living, for emotions, which is to enjoy a nice music, to enjoy a nice view, a nice painting, to enjoy a beautiful fruit, a beautiful meal, to enjoy company of people that basically share value in common with you or can elevate your knowledge. And this is basically what I call the rural luxury. It's basically the essential are the real luxury. It's a bit like if you go to a very high-end supermarket, you buy an apple, certainly you will have a good apple and quite expensive. But if you go in the garden to pick up an apple when it's fully ripe on the trees, let me tell you, that will be another experience. And your emotion would be much more stimulated by this experience than going to the supermarket.
Yes. So the idea of really being mindful about everything you do and experiencing the beauty of it deeply.
Yeah, it's a self-fulfillment with real experience, with real emotions.
So on that note, let's do that with this one. What are we tasting today?
Today we're tasting a Cabernet Sauvignon. Cabernet Sauvignon was brought up to the Languedoc. It was not originally a grape original in the Languedoc like could be in Bordeaux or in other parts, but especially in Bordeaux. But when we decided to make fine wines, Cabernet was brought up as a noble grape varieties compared to not so noble other grape varieties. That was basically the talk of that time, but I don't really fully agree with that. But what basically I discovered is Cabernet Sauvignon is an outstanding grape. It makes the most beautiful wines in the world. And when you know how to handle the type of soil, the type of climatic conditions, the way of working the vineyard, in the Languedoc you can make outstanding Cabernet Sauvignon. And I took the challenge to say, I think in the Languedoc we can make the best Cabernet Sauvignon in the world.
Well, let's taste. Let's taste. It smells beautiful.
So for me, the aromatics of a nice Cabernet Sauvignon, well-ripe fruit of Cabernet Sauvignon, is blueberry. It's dark berries, and then it's a wine, Cabernet Sauvignon, that like oak aging. Then you get some toastiness from the oak, you get some coffee notes.
Blueberry cobbler. I don't know whether you know cobbler, it's a North American thing, but it's basically, you know, biscuity notes and baked blueberries.
Yeah, that's a bit baked blueberry would be like a gratin of blueberries.
Yes, that would be the equivalent. Yeah. But it smells beautiful.
That's the smell of a Cabernet Sauvignon when it's ripe and when it's in its beauty.
Let's taste it. Wonderful ripe structure. You know, it's not as grippy as a cooler climate might
yeah, be. Exactly. It's not as astringent and it's not as the aggressivity of the tannins and the acidity. What I look in the Cabernet is this solar character, would make it more mellow, bolder, richer, and have still the elegance of Cabernet Sauvignon. Because Cabernet Sauvignon for me is one of the most elegant red grape variety.
Certainly
It can
be.
be powerful, it can be strong, it can be structured, but still elegant and harmonious. This is what I'm looking in my Cabernet Sauvignon.
You're achieving that, and what I love is that you're achieving it at this price point, because this is a wine that's not very expensive. It's accessible to many people. What does this sell for in North America?
Well, there are wines that go for $10, $12, American dollars. Here it's $15.
$15.
They are still expensive because of the structure. In France, it's 5 euros, 6 euros wine. In Holland, it's a €7 wine. In England, it's a €9 wine. In Australia, it's actually it's a $12 Australian dollars wine. In Brazil, I don't remember how many reals. So we sell it even in Ivory Coast, in Africa. There it's more expensive because obviously the supply chain is more complicated. But it's a wine basically which is available everywhere in the world. I did a trick also, you know, in Ontario, the wine goes through your monopoly and they're very keen on light bottle. And I hate light bottle because I think a heavy bottle, nice bottle is part of the experience of buying a bottle of wine. So I created this bottle, as you can see, which has an emblem. It's a Bordeaux bottle, but it's a special shape with a special neck, which we cannot see here, but I've banned the capsule because it's a bit of a problem for recycling. Ecologically, it's not that good. So I had just a wax drop, a drop of wax. So that makes basically a packaging which is still light, obviously, but has a very strong personality, a strong character, and more, let's say, environmental friendly, which is also part of what I make in my wine. I don't like to say, but this wine are 75% certified organic and 25 non-certified, so it cannot be called as organic. But my approach to viticulture as part of my rural heritage is to preserve the environment, to preserve the fauna, the birds, and that is basically when you are a real peasant. That's what you inherit, and that's what first, because you know that if you treat well Mother Nature, if you treat well, but you accompany her the best possible way, she's very, very generous with you.
Yes.
So being basically ecological, environment friendly, respecting all the nature, all the environment, it's part of the DNA of a fifth or sixth, or I don't know, generation of peasants.
I love that. I love that you're recognizing the earth in every glass. That's so important, and it's important to every drinker right now. And it's also nice that you're humble enough not to really shout about it. It's there's a humility there that's respected. So thank you so much for joining us. This is the kind of wine, I mean, I'd love to talk to you for ages about this wine because it's beautiful, and I think, I love a wine that's undervalued. It's a fabulous wine that everyone can afford, and I love that, especially in this economy.
One important point, when the wine are made the way I do it, it has to be good on the taste, but it has to be good when you drink them as a feeling. And that's very important with the approach which I have. There's no entrance, minimal sulfites, organically grown grapes, so that it's good for your body and good for your taste, good for your soul, good for your body, and good for your palate. That's really what is very, very important with wine, because that's why wine is part of civilization actually.
Yes.
That's why, wine has to be good for you.
Yes, I hear what you're saying. Well, thank you so much for sharing that with us and for sharing this bottle of wine with me today.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Carolyn. Cheers.
Cheers.